Joseph Parker has been eyeing an opportunity for the heavyweight title. However, after talking about it, he'll face anyone. He's now got Fabio Wardley in his sights. And on October 25th, Fabio Wardley can prove to the world whether he's for real or not. Let's talk about Parker versus Wardley, all or nothing. The upcoming heavyweight showdown between Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley, announced this week, is going to be a fight where Joseph Parker gets an opportunity to prove his wares against a newer generation of fighter coming along in Fabio Wardley. When this fight is proposed as a Queensberry promotion, what we're going to see is Fabio Wardley stepping up to the plate of competition and entering the world-class status of boxing. Parker, being a former heavyweight champion, once holding the WBO title, has been pining for an opportunity at Alexander Usyk to possibly fight for his world undisputed titles. But in the interim, he's got to face someone, and after being off for a while, he'll bring his record of 36-3 with 24 KOs in against Wardley. Now, in that, we've seen Parker in against the likes of, you can say, Dillian White, Derek Chisora, but there's something about the fighter in Wardley, who is 19-0 with 18 KOs, has found himself catapulted into this status. He's the type of fighter that, from the UK side of the world, is a lot like Deontay Wilder in the fact that he is not a traditional boxer, has a smaller amateur background, but as a professional has stepped up and prevailed to a degree that you have to take notice of his talents. When we think about Parker and his fight against Zhilei Zhang, he was coming off of wins over the likes of Wilder, but he's a basic boxer with average power and average IQ. Sometimes when I listen to him speak, Parker fancies himself as a class better than what he has really put on display. When I think about Wardley is a fighter that there was a time when I was questioning him, like when he fought Michael Coffey back in April of 2023 in a fight that was stopped in the 4th round. He's unorthodox with above average power, and I found that ever since that fight, he really has turned up the intensity and his focus. With victories over David Adelaide and Frazier Clark twice, and now Justin Huney, he is showing himself to be a threat in the division, similarly to Ajit Kabiel. Now Parker, who again, like I said, fancies himself the next in line for a title shot, this fight is going to tell us really where he is, because I believe he's been coasting. In the heavyweight division, coasting is not a good thing. He has caught 2 fighters on the back end of circumstances, both Wilder and Martin Bakole, where he's had victories over both, that he has taken as he's really stepped into the limelight. But I beg to differ. On the flip side, when you look at what Wardley has accomplished over his last couple of fights, and you see what he did to Justin Huney, who was outboxing him clearly over the distance of their rounds, and he caught him with a knockout, walk-off home run right hand, Parker has got his work cut out for him. That means that Wardley is dangerous from 1 through 12 or less. So Parker's going to have to show resolve. He's going to have to show technical capability. He's going to have to show that he's got a good chin. And we do remember that he was once stopped by Joe Joyce. There's a lot on the table between these two men, and you really have to pay attention to the fact of where a fighter's true desire is. Though Parker wants to fight for a world title, does he really want to have to work for a world title and go through the trenches for what it would require? Wardley is 30 years of age, Parker is 33. But those 39 fights that he has, it's a lot of wear and tear there. So as we look ahead to this October 25th matchup between these two heavyweights, I think it's definitely a fight worth tuning into, and we'll have more of a breakdown when we get closer to the event. But I am excited that there is some movement in the heavyweights, because as so go the heavyweights in the sport of boxing, the rest of the sport usually follows along. And early on, you can look at Joseph Parker and think of him being a veteran, and think of him being the more experienced fighter who should have probably a recommended favor going into the matchup between the two. But a smart person with the smart money would look and observe what Fabio Wardley is doing currently in the sport. And he very well, along with Ajit Kabiel, may be two of the most dangerous younger heavyweights in the division. And even those two could possibly be on a collision course if Wardley happens to be successful against the likes of Joseph Parker. So when we look ahead, boxing is in good shape with fights that are on the horizon. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts about Fabio Wardley's chances against Joseph Parker this autumn. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.